My mother has nightmares. Even as a kid, from the other end of the house, I could hear her weeping in her sleep, like she's being haunted. So I prepared my prayers. I signed the documents to make them official. Call it postmodern Joni Mitchell. But what can you really do when your city subway track runs through the sky? My mother had a grand piano. She taught neighboring kids how to read music chapter by chapter. She played at church, at Christmas, at weddings, and when she was drinking wine with her French friend Chantal, who just moved to our small Ontario town with her 2 kids from the outskirts of Montreal. Chantal was screwing our next door neighbor, who's been divorced now for over a year with 2 kids of his own. Kevin Bacon's Footloose and Madonna's Material Girl were considered risque. Airwolf and Dallas were hit shows of the day. What can you do when the abandoned train track, overrun by reeds and rust, runs through your backyard? But it broke my 9-year-old free will when the local tough guy from my public school showed up at the front door looking for piano lessons from my mother. My first thought as I turned down the TV to overhear the conversation was, I bet he wants to play in a rock and roll band. But like the innkeeper in us all, my mother says, I'm sorry, I'm all booked up. But the fucking tough guy, he didn't raise his voice, very gentlemanlike. He said, ma'am, what if I came back in a few months? She said, I'm sorry, and closed the door. I just thought those fists that could pound a jaw to the sidewalk needed a chance to touch the ivory keys. And maybe I'd be changing my tune real fast when I got older and it was my jaw he was breaking when liquored up on his dad's hidden stash that he stole from the glove box. But then again, maybe he was less likely to do so if his hands were skilled in the art of power chords that played under Skinner and Motley Crue. But what can you fucking do when even limousines are pimped out to look like pickup trucks? In my mother's old age, she has built a fort in the Anglican church. She's built a campfire on the altar and a slingshot out of a crucifix. I think she's even stayed in the stained glass fort overnight, conducting the crickets like a choir trying to fend off her bad dreams. In town, I think I'm gonna make my living selling road maps for lost children of the revolution, whose will's been shattered like shard glass under their feet. My mother was cut open from my birth. She has the scars to prove it, and new shoes for my sister. I don't remember last night's dream, but my whole life I've craved adventure. But tonight, fueled on chain smoking and shots of Viagra, I pray for my mother's nightmares to stop. For if and when they do, world peace will kiss the belly of the church, and heaven will finally learn to sing the blues. I hear the sky train fly through the rain. In this ghost town, we're all haunted by a buried alive love and open casket loneliness. What is there to do but open for business? Piano lessons for tough guys and loose women in Montreal. I need one student to make it official. Called postmodern Joni Mitchell. But the meaning of that, only my mother would understand. He probably just wants to play in a rock and roll